Welcome back to Streamline Entertainment. It's Marvin speaking. We're just going to go into Noble. Thanks for putting this up. Chris Tenerife talking about Jay's Law. Let's get straight into this.
With it till the day I die. And Luggy, you out there all the way, mate. And that's what Jay Law's. What it means is it's not about Jay and right now. It's about the next victim and the next family that are going to be subject to the same level of hate.
Yeah.
The same as what the Duncan family have been subject to. And that is what we're going to
Look, there was some nasty trolls out there who were saying some despicable stuff about Debbie and the family and about Jay and his death. With really nasty. That was nothing to do with the sleuths, to be honest with you. All we try to do is implement a way of trying to liaise with the accident crew about what happened to Jay Slater, because there's so many discrepancies. There's so many people thinking the worst, and I do too, but at the end of the day, the timeline wasn't really given to us. Duncan was asking natural questions to find answers from Luggy and Chris T, but it didn't seem to happen. And Chris has recently said, look, wait until the documentary comes out. Okay, we'll have a look at it. But like I said, some of the questions that he was asked by Mia, by EP, I thought it was good that they did that. I don't think EP was running anyone down at the end of the day. He's been the same as myself, as Duncan, as many of the others, asking questions but not getting any answers.
stop.
Chris, I was involved in helping the family before online, and the level of hate and trolling they got was horrendous too. And I said at the time, my God, something has to be done to stop this.
Yeah.
And it has happened again. I'm witness to it happening again.
We're not on our watch.
So what I was explaining
I'll say, by the way, to everybody who's come in and viewed and commented tonight, there hasn't been one mean comment, and I really appreciate that. There's been
there are decent people on the app. That's the thing, see.
in this chat tonight. It's been so decent. Thank you, everyone.
So what I was explaining to you, Chris, about these lot going for you is what Karen had already saw in another case. You get it? So what I knew was coming, I'd also saw in multiple cases. This is why you'd have to go the way it did. Let them come at us, because then we make changes that makes this stop for the next, generations. And no one saw that.
You did say to me at one point, you were like, look, Chris, we've got a lot to lose. Like, it's I don't know how to put this quite, but do you remember the conversation?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Basically, I'm trying to prep you.
Are you sure you want to do this?
Yeah.
Because you really have got tangibles that you can lose. We could lose it on this.
Yeah.
And I said, what? You mean in the moment of judgment, I'm going to step back because of bullies? And not do the right thing? No, not a chance, mate. If it costs me everything, I'm all in.
That's it. So what I explained to Chris is what was coming. We both knew it was coming, but we were still both willing to take that anyway because something needed to be done for future generations.
Look, my view on it as well is that we as sleuths, as the public as well, haven't really been given I'm not saying we should get all the information, because some of it is classified information. But like I said, the timelines of Jay leaving the condition he was in, I think that's very, very important, to be honest with you. I just find that the witnesses were very vague. We had Brad turned up at the end of the day, but like I said, most of their stories changed a hell of a lot, which didn't actually add up. And what MWT started the case was actually basically saying, hey, look, we think that this might have a criminal element to this case. That's what got everyone going, because we didn't know anything before that about Rocky, about Ayub, about Roman. This was oblivious. If we hadn't known that, then we probably had gone basically as an accident. But then we realised about the underworld, the people, the names that were involved, Jonathan A, PP, and many others who were high profile, basically music artists and criminals as well. And it speaks a lot of volumes. And like I said, one of the reasons why I basically started concentrating on Tenerife and the Jay Slater case was to educate others in going to Tenerife and those that are vulnerable, that may be caught up in gangs. That was my reason at the end of the day. We all know there's a little bit more to this, what happened to Jay Slater, to be honest with you. At the end of the day, maybe Chris and Luggy don't know it all. To be honest with you, yes, they were out searching, and well, Chris was out searching, and we really respect that, and he was getting help with Luggy. We're not abusing them on that. What we do, what we're asking is, at the end of the day, those simple questions, which, if they'd been answered, we would never have been talking about this case, because we would have had a timeline and a higher percentage of what happened to Jay Slater, and thinking, right, okay, that is their knowledge of what they think that happened to Jay. It may not change my mind. It may not change the public's mind. It may not change the streamliner's mind. But all we wanted was a genuine conversation in where they stood on things. And whether we believe that or not, that's up to them. You know, one thing, like I said, you know, we're not the sleuths are not the bullies. We didn't come in to bully. All we wanted was the truth, what happened to Jay Slater. So if there's a J law, then fair enough, and the government implements it, then fair enough to protect families. Because there were a lot of nasty people who said a lot of nasty things on TikTok and YouTube about Debbie and Warren and the family, which was bang out of order. But there was also people who genuinely were concerned about their youngsters going to Tenerife and basically understanding what Tenerife's about, that it could be a very, very dangerous place. And the missing people, Ricky from 1985, which we believe that he was killed out there. And I think one of his family members got an anonymous phone call that basically he had his throat slit for stealing from a rug dealer. It isn't good. It has a history, Tenerife. We're not trying to run it down. All we're trying to do is put our own safety procedures for our vulnerable children, vulnerable young people going out to Tenerife, and even an adult as well. Just be aware. Let's continue a little bit more. I'll only do a couple of minutes more, people.
That's simple. And not just that, but also for the Slater and Duncan family.
Correct.
That was a whole purpose through what has gone on over the last year. Let everyone know.
Someone has just asked.
Well,
Yes.
if I'd have actually listened to you, I might have had a change of heart. But anyway.
If you realise what I was saying.
Morgan and Gaffer have just asked. Only if
Go on, Kaz.
comes and sale, please. I've only just heard about it.
Can you say it again, Kaz?
Borderline Banter has asked, can you tell me what Day's Law is about? It's going to entail, please. I've only just heard about it.
We cannot discuss that law at the moment because it's an ongoing thing, but you will all find out shortly in due process.
Yeah.
I think we're going to leave it there, to be honest with you, so it can't. Luggy just said it can't be discussed at the moment, which is fair enough at the end of the day. But don't forget that new law, which they're going to need a lot of petitions, and also it's got to go through Parliament, surely. But like I said, I think it'll be hard to stop the public and what they're thinking, and I think there'll be uproar if basically we're not allowed to sort of think with our own minds about whether a case has some discrepancies in this, and whether basically Jay was murdered or not. So that's the case on that, to be honest with you. I think you've got to keep an open mind on the Jay Slater case. I do respect Debbie and Warren at the end of the day. And we mustn't forget that Warren was talking to Wax and was happy with him to continue with the case and keep talking. Then after a while, he stopped, maybe because of, like I said, the coroner's court cases coming up where he wants to concentrate on that, which was fair enough. But everyone's got their own viewpoints in this case. We're not here to slate people. We're here to have a conversation, but we realise now we cannot have the conversations with the other side because they don't want to discuss it. So they're basically saying, watch the documentary and then it'll give you all your answers, which is fair enough. That was part one, people. Going to move on to part two. Welcome back to part two, people. And this is what happened to Jay Slater. Too many coincidences. Let's get straight
24 hours aren't just tragic, they're suspicious. Every minute matters, and when you lay them out, the gaps start to scream. Late that night, Jay was at the festival, and so was Tom Hilton. Video and photo evidence put Hilton right there in the crowd. Jay is photographed in a car headed to a rural B&B, but some say the photo looks staged, possibly taken earlier to cover up what really happened. In the early morning, Jay sends snaps, smiling but out of it, then nothing. His phone pings one last time, no proof of life after that. Hours completely unaccounted for. Where was Tom Hilton during this time? Officials say Jay fell, but no one walks off a cliff when help was a call away. Hilton at the rave, his family in Tenerife. Too many coincidences. In part 8, we map every sighting to see where the lies begin. Drop your thoughts below and subscribe.
That was by Storyblocks there. But I just want to say that obviously that storyline of Tom basically being at the festival, that's a high percentage that he was there and what we see with the photos. I think the worry for me in this case at the end of the day is just that the photos in the Jay Slater, him back the car, the first one, which looked like Tom, I believe it was him. The second one in the back of the car, I believe that was altered to make out that Jay was in the back of the car because he looked fresh, and he certainly didn't look hammered to me, to be honest with you. It just looked like he was fresh and ready to go out with a big smile on his face. So that may have been taken earlier on in the day or earlier on another day when basically he was in Abe's car, because I do believe that they were at the Airbnb before, and that was narco headquarters up there. Once again, the reason for making these videos is to educate people. There's no prejudice against everyone. Everyone's got a viewpoint. And if people feel uncomfortable with cases, then what should happen is that it should be talked about. But it should be talked about on a level where there's respect on each side. Duncan put out an olive branch in the early days, asking Chris and Luggy questions, and they were never answered because they don't have to be answered. Obviously, this law, J law, we would want to know more about it for it to be implemented into government legislations. I think that's important. I do think what this basically TikToker has said, I do think it has a lot of truth in it with missing time. We've always said that. We've had Abe say, don't forget what happened the night before. For it to be an accident, for me, I would want everything, all the proof in why would he walk off at the end of the day, why he would not tell his parents that he was walking off road. I'm sure if Jay had access to his phone, he would have rang his parents and said, look, I'm in a bit of trouble. Why would he ring Brad at the end of the day? And like I said, it seemed like in some of the videos that they'd fallen out with Jay. If anything, the only person he's going to trust in a situation like that is Warren, his mum, and his brother, to be honest with you. I still think there's more to this case than meets the eye at the end of the day. I think we've all learned from it. it's probably going to get a bit toxic before it actually irons itself out. I do believe that there are people with more information out there, as we saw Mia come forward and other people come forward down the months as well. And we won't forget the eyewitness who said Jay was carried away because he was in a state by two dark men at the end of the day, but we don't know where they were from. But he was definitely carried off on the shoulder of someone else. And that was another eyewitness who said they've got videos. People have got videos of what happened to Jay Slater at the end of the day. And ask yourself why they aren't releasing them. Don't forget to subscribe to Streamline Entertainment. That's my update on this case at the end of the day. But like I said, I'm going to do a few lives with Ali. Hopefully, we'll try and do one before, basically, maybe Thursday, a live on the Jay Slater case, and then probably sometime a little bit after the documentary. Don't forget to subscribe to Streamline Entertainment, and thank you very much indeed. And let me know what you think about Jay's Law. Do you think it will be implemented, or basically, do you think things just carry on as normal? Let me know your thoughts, people. Thank you.